Welcome to another What's Up Wednesday. Thank you for joining live, or thank you for joining for the replay. We're really excited to have you along for the day today. My name is Scott. Welcome to Go Small, Live Large, a YouTube channel dedicated to the Class B, that would be a van RV lifestyle. Here what we do is we learn together, we share together, and then you decide what's best for you. And it's just a pleasure to have you along for the ride tonight. I love our What's Up Wednesdays because we sprinkle in topics from viewers. We take a lot of your questions live Q&A. That's the beauty of YouTube Live. And we have special guests. Let me give you a little run through of our big show tonight. And when I say big, I'm not kidding. If somebody can give us a thumb up on audio and video out there, beyond intention, that would be awesome if you can help us out with that. So tonight what we're going to do is, as always, have a whole bunch of topics. We go for about an hour. So check out this this itinerary tonight. We have a special guest. We have Peirce. He's the handsome guy on the left there, the really tall guy. He's coming to us from No Dirty Earth. He's going to talk to us about how to be a better RVer with better quality water, not drinking out of plastic bottles, mind you. So we're really excited to have him on board tonight. We've got viewer question of the week, and this is a great one. RV sales going through the roof. Wait till you see our RV News headline. He wants to know, Steve does, the RV sales impact on campgrounds. I do have some feedback on that. We have a recommendation of the week. We had a recent video on Shore Power 101. If you haven't seen that, if you're kind of a new to RVing, those people really had a good time watching that video, because some of folks had never seen what in the heck that thing actually looks like. And that's an actual box and RV park. Pretty crazy, right? And you asked for it when I asked you for what time of day do you want to do YouTube Live What's Up Wednesday. Overwhelmingly, it's 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. where I am now. So we're going to stay up late and do What's Up Wednesdays pretty live, which makes it extra special because of our guest tonight. And that is Peirce. Let me bring Peirce on from No Dirty Water. Here he's come. Oh, let's go like this. There he is. Hey, Peirce.
Hey, Scott. How's it going? Hey, everyone.
It's going great. We've got some great questions right out of the gate, Peirce. But again, thanks for staying up late. You're Eastern time zone too, so it's 7 p.m. here. And hey, we give the audience what they want. That's kind of how we roll here. So,
pleasure to be here.
So what we're going to do, yeah, right. So what we're going to do is I've got a few questions for Peirce out of the gate, including some introductions. And then we're going to take some of your questions. MP has asked some good ones right from the get-go. And if you're not familiar, we follow the Kevin Martin of 30 and a Wake Up, a YouTuber living full-time in Travado KL. His question format in his YouTube Live is 3 stars, so asterisk, 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 followed by 3 question marks. So if you can help us with that, that will help us identify your question quickly, and then we'll want to get that answered for you. So with that, Peirce, again, just thanks for joining us tonight. And where are you joining us from?
So I'm in East Lansing, Michigan, in the state that looks like a glove.
It's true, right? And the UP looks at the top of the mid.
Yeah, don't want to forget the UP.
And what is the weather like where you are?
It's actually warming up right now. So generally, you get mixed weather starting kind of in the March time period, but we were close to mid 60s today, which is fairly unusual for us. But I'm not complaining. It means more of a camping season ahead.
That's awesome.
Which is always good.
Awesome. Well, I will not give a Florida weather report where it's endless summer in Florida. So,
right.
So I learned about Peirce and No Dirty Water, No Dirty Air, which they've kind of combined into No Dirty Earth. We'll talk about that in a second. Through Embassy RV. My pay partnership with Embassy RV make really innovative Class B RVs. 3 floor plans, you pick the chassis, and they install the No Dirty Earth water filtration program. So Peirce, just give us a little introduction about the company, yourself, what makes you guys different?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. So at No Dirty Earth, so we started in 2016. I'm a co-founder at No Dirty Earth. John and Joni Steekiel started the company in 2016, and really so they originally started it to explore ways to provide mobile and affordable and reliable water treatment in developing nations after they took their trip to Africa. So all of our team, we come from a background in the outdoor adventure space and also the specialty vehicle environment. And we really have a mission to equip you with the tools where you can trust your water again, and therefore trust the water and your resources that are in your environment. So we kind of take a different approach to water treatment. So look at it from an off-grid perspective, which is critical in whether you're building out a van, you're in a Class B RV, or you're kind of overlanding. You want high volumes of water that you can trust. And if you do use any power, whether that's a pump or an ozone generator or UV, everything has to be 12 volt. So it's super critical for power consumption. So all of our systems are either no power consumption because they're just a water filter or 2 filters, or they have 12 volt technology that's powering them. So really, we're all about creating a better world, a healthier planet, and for you to control your resources while you're on the road.
That's really hopeful. I appreciate that. So I might be the oddball in the group that drinks the water from my faucet in my RV. I filter coming in, I filter coming out of the filter, and cold. I know a lot of Travato people buy, the 24 packs of the plastic bottled water. Drives me crazy. By treating water coming in, how does that affect? Are you seeing a trend there that people are looking to do that and get away from the purchased water in plastic bottles?
Yeah. So I mean, the reality is, most people don't trust the water, whether that's in a campground and they're pulling it from, as we will allude to some of the interesting, during our last conversation in Michigan, the interesting event that unfolded there with water at the campground. But a lot of people don't trust the water they're going to get from the campground, or they trust the water from their tank. It can be kind of a environment where there's a lot of bacterial growth. So being able to have the option to be able to treat your water wherever you're at is a huge upside for a lot of people. And if they're not familiar with that yet, they're probably just buying water from the store, bottled water that's single use. And as we all know, in a Class B or at a van, space is at a premium. And so you have to be able to, when you go on your trip, you go off grid, you're not exactly intending to be close to a store where you can buy more bottled water. So you end up having to supply much more bottled water for yourself in an already limited space environment. And then you drink the water, and then you have to figure out what you're going to do with the empty plastic bottles. So it's just a nightmare to begin with overall. But I think that's what most people know, and that's kind of a safe option. But luckily, we have technology now that you don't have to do that.
That's really great, and I just totally agree with you. So let me. We got some really great questions coming in. So MP asks, and again, the format, please, is 3 stars, 3 question marks. That help us find it. And thank you, everybody, for joining tonight. I'm seeing some familiar names in here. This is awesome. And let's see. So MP, right out of the gate, asked a pretty good question here. Hiya, Scott. Can a freshwater tank in an RV possibly be anything other than a cesspool under development unless some kind of chemicals are routinely added to kill biological pathogens? Holy cow, it sounds like I need a hazmat inside my Travato. So here's my take on this. Yes, a freshwater tank should be sanitized on a regular basis. Don't do what I'm doing, and I have, in 2.5 years of ownership, never sanitized my water tank. Why? Because I fill and I drain that thing about every 3 to 4 to 5 days. And if you have water sitting in a tank, even just sitting a glass of water, literally, like just on a table, for like 5 to 10 days later, there's stuff growing in it. So, but because I'm totally flushing that system by consuming and filling, there's enough chlorine in the water. I've never had an issue. I probably should do that. It would make a great video. I filter the water coming in. I filter coming out of my faucet, and that's what I do. So there's probably some biological instruments swimming around in there, but I have not really been affected. But it's a good question. Peirce, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely freshwater tanks can be it's the Wild West. And you kind of roll the dice every single time you pull water from that, at least historically. So yeah, you definitely want to treat going in, but you also want to make sure it's treated going out of the freshwater tank. And I'll give you an example. As you referenced, Scott, we are partnered with Embassy RV. So we do have some of our systems in Embassy. And so we do use ozone. So we inject ozone into the freshwater tank to be able to clean that freshwater tank with ozonation. So there's that option, but there's also ways where you can treat your freshwater tank or do what Scott's doing, is cycling out every couple days. So, but yeah, definitely it's, you want to make sure you're not, having water sit in there for a long time and then drawing from that to drink. Not recommended.
I would, if you're storing your rig for any reason, for any length of time, I would drain the tank. And it's part of the winterizing process, probably anyway. I live in my van, and have for 2 years now. We just passed 2-year anniversary last month, this being early March. So we got some good questions coming in. Thanks, folks. Give us a thumb up if you learned anything. By the way, I am not charging Peirce and No Dirty Earth a dime for this. He's just been gracious enough to join us tonight. So if you think this is a commercial, this is a commercial for you to learn better. That's what we do here. We learn, we share, you decide what's best for you. So again, thanks for joining. So this is a great question from MP. Peirce, maybe you can take this one.
Yeah, totally. So MP, this is a great question. So I'll verbally say it. So any experience using one of the inline UV sanitization devices just upstream of one of the faucets in the van. So there's a ton of great options out there right now from a UV side. UV water treatment, if people aren't familiar with it, just on a basic level, it's treating with UV light the water. The beauty of UV, it's, if you can get it in a 12-volt application, it's a great way to treat a water source prior to drinking it. The only challenge with UV is you want to make sure that there's a pre-filtration, because you want to make sure that water has been filtered out for the UV light to be able to treat it effectively. UV has some challenges not being able to treat water that is fairly turbid, which would be a kind of a dark or kind of dirty type water. So you do want to make sure if you're pulling from like a stream or an unknown water source that may be a little bit dirtier, definitely pre-filter it before you're using a UV. But once again, there's a ton of great UV companies out there, specifically in 12 volt, and it's a great technology.
That's great. So we got a couple of the good questions coming in. So so this is Vandemic. He is actually, let me put this up and get rid of this. There we go. So Vandemic, a frequent commenter, thank you, and really excited. He has an Embassy Sport on order. I assume so. I'm assuming it's on order. By the way, the backlog is shortening on one hand and getting longer on the other. So Vandemic says, I'm getting the Embassy Sport that I hear has your water system. What am I in for maintenance?
Well, first off, congratulations. That's Embassy is a great pick. But yeah, so on a maintenance side, so the ozone is not going to require maintenance, at least in the lifetime that you'll use it. The water filters we recommend, it's either, if you're doing it full time, a good way to look at it is 3,000 to 5,000 gallons of use. So you'll see it's a simple 2.5 inch by 10 inch cartridge. So you want to change this out every 3,000 to 5,000 gallons. If you're using it part time, we do recommend just saying every season change out your water filter, because these can, just like your freshwater tank earlier on, if you leave your water filter in and you're not using your van or your setup, that can be a site for bacterial growth. And so you just want to make sure you're either changing it once a season or 3,000 to 5,000 gallons if you're using it full time. But pretty simple on the maintenance side.
That's awesome. And it should be simple, man. It's kind of the RV way, right?
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. So I had a question on manufacturing process. There's a lot of disruptions in the supply chain these days. For some obvious reasons out there, but I'm just real curious. I think you guys are pro, kind of building in USA. I think. Look at my notes off camera. Sorry, folks. But maybe just give us a little bit of information on how you guys build your systems, where, and what's involved with that. Yeah,
so we're based here in Lansing, Michigan. We assemble our components either currently in Lansing or in Northern California. So all of our components, they're standard in, our water housings are standard. So you can go to Home Depot and find a water housing replacement. And so we wanted to do that intentionally. We want to, as we said at the beginning, we want to empower you to control your resources. As many components as we can make as standardized as possible, we want to empower you as the end user. Obviously, our water filters are third-party tested and made here in the US too. Those are not something you can buy at Home Depot, but it's a standard cartridge size. So if you already have a van that has a 2.5 inch by 10 inch filter housing. So I'll give you an example off screen here. This would be kind of a standard 2.5 inch by 10 inch water housing that you can buy at Home Depot or any other hardware store. You can interchange our water filters in your current setup. We also have a 2.5 inch by 5 inch cartridge. So in a really compact setting. And this is really good for like Vanlife or under the sink if you have limited real estate to go off of.
Super helpful.
Yeah. So manufacturing process. So I totally skipped that.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's all assembled here in the US. Obviously the parts are standard. But our ozone system's made here in the US as well. And then we're also building more products here in the U.S. But that's a really critical component given the times right now. It's always interesting trying to source multiple parts, even made here in the U.S. It's a good problem for a lot of manufacturers, but there is a lot of backlog as we've seen in the RV industry. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's the supply chain disruption's been pretty system-wide, but really great questions. We got a few more coming in here. Keep them coming in that's water specific. Again, the idea with an RV is to have really quality water from nearly any source using a really quality water filtering system like what No Dirty Earth provides. I swear by my systems, and it just allows you to drink water from your rig. And I have a separate auxiliary 4-gallon tank in my garage storage area that I supplement with the onboard in-tank water. And I filter that as it's going in. So it's just a really important, I think, RV skill. We don't talk about water quality all that often, and it's a really big deal because, as Peirce alluded to, if you're filling up your very valuable storage space with bottled water, there's just a better way to do it. And again, you decide what's best for you, but there's just a really better way, I think, by filtering it. Let us know where you're watching from. We've got some crazy folks coming in from all over. And it would just be a joy to know where you're watching from tonight. So here's Sherry. Sherry is just about to get an Embassy RV delivered to her. So Sherry says you use a filter filling the water tank, and then a filter in the Embassy RV injects ozone into the tank to keep the water clean. Does she have that correct?
Yeah. So basically, you're using you're filtering everything that's going in and then injecting ozone into the tank. So
which takes care of those bugs.
Yes. Yeah. Embassy is really, they're wanting to ensure that the water that you have, you can trust. And so that's something we've talked to them about too. And it's reflected in the system there.
Trust your water. I need to change my thumbnail. Maybe I'll do that. Trust your water.
It's important. It's a critical part of life is, water. You use water every day. We're mostly water as humans. It's an important factor.
That is fantastic. So here, Sherry, same Sherry, has another great question. Do you have any potable water filtration solutions for hikers?
No. So actually my background, so when we alluded at the beginning, we come from a specialty vehicle space. So our team here, or also in the outdoor industry. So I come from the backpacking side of the outdoor industry. So I'm very familiar with the water filters that they offer. Whether that's a Katadyn or there's several like MSR. We really focus on building water treatment systems that produce high volumes of water. So in a backpacking environment, you're really looking for mobility and kind of handheld items that you can store into a backpack that's lightweight, and you're not really going to treat more than a gallon a day. And if you did, it's pretty time intensive on that filter side. You're trying to squeeze a lot of water through a small filter. So our filters are really designed for off-grid use in like a van or in an RV, where you can produce, given an example would be like 8 ounces a second of water, where you can rely on that water in high volumes in your RV. Which if you're producing 8 gallons of, 1 gallon of water a second, 8 fluid ounces of water a second, that's quite a bit of water over a day. So that's, ultimately we want to focus on building systems that are RV specific, but you can use water filters for hiking. You just won't have the full flow rate, I guess, that you may want in an RV application. But great question, Sherry.
Yeah, it's a great question. A lot of folks have the Berkey, the portable Berkey.
Totally.
Chad and Paul, their YouTube channel, they swear by theirs, and they're a new storyteller overlander. They got rid of their Travado. If you haven't checked out their channel, their story kind of started over with their new van, which is kind of cool. So maybe how can people find out more about No Dirty Earth? And before you answer that, I think it kind of a special announcement of, a little bit of a discount for Go Small Live Large viewers on a pre-order of a really cool product. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, totally, Scott. So as I said before, all of our systems are either a single filter or a duo filter. So these are something you can mount into your van. We have been working on we're announcing and launching a new product called Rugged Water. And this is a standalone water system that is a 12-volt water pump, and it's dual filtered. And it's encased in a small compact housing. So this is something if you don't want to have to mess with plumbing in your RV, and you want to be able to pull water from an outdoor source of water, whether that's a stream, a lake, a site of water that you want to pull from on the road or off grid, you can use this system in full and just buy it, plug it into 12 volt and pump 8 fluid ounces of water a second in high volumes and have great tasting and safe, clean water coming out of the back end. So if you're not looking to kind of mess with a plumbing setup in your RV, or water kind of scares you from setting up, this is a great rugged water system that we're launching here in May. And we do have a pre-order available now. And you see, if you guys are interested, we have the code GSLL that you can use on our website, nodirtyearth.com, to receive $25 off a pre-order for the rugged water system. And those will be delivering here in May. So if you guys are interested, definitely check it out. We're just starting the launch process, and I brought this up to Scott, and hopefully this can, if you guys are interested in water but don't want to have any of the legwork required to plumb into your van, this is a great option for that too.
That's so awesome. Just make it simple. Thank you. That's really great.
It can be overwhelming.
For
try
sure.
to build your own water system.
Well, Peirce, that kind of rounds out our special time with you. You have two options. You can either stay and play longer, and we'll just kind of continue moving through the program, or you're welcome to cut it loose if it's a late happy hour for your choice.
I'm staying. I love this stuff, Scott. So
that's so great. That's cool,
exciting.
Man. Love to have you. Ginger Walkabout, another YouTuber, solo female traveler in a Travado GL, chose the same option last week. So we got some other great questions coming in, but let's go right to the to those. There's a couple coming in here that are completely unrelated to water. So let's. I just saw you. Some really great, some familiar faces. Again, let us know where you're coming in from. Give a thumb up if you have learned anything tonight. That would be great. Scanning, I just saw it. We saw that one. Sorry, guys. Gals, Sherry, MP, right here. So MP says, under the impression ozone is hazardous to inhale. Any chance ozone injecting the water supply gases off in the van interior or when the water is run? Good question. Don't know.
MP, that is a great question. So ozone is, if you're using it for air treatment, there are some safety concerns on an air side, but our systems are designed for injecting ozone into water. And that has historically been a technology that's used in wastewater treatment. So as I said before, we're taking technologies that have been proven, or maybe I haven't said this before, but we're taking technologies that have been proven and we're just applying it into the RV space. So ozone and water have been something that have been used for years. It's been proven on a municipality level and is widely used for water treatment. So there's no concern on that end. It would just, if you're using like an ozone air generator, you do have to be conscious of making sure that that's used at a safe level. But that would not be for like a water application.
That's great.
Great question, MP.
Yeah, right. So here's Guy. That might be a new name. I don't remember this. So another Embassy RV question. Embassy uses flexible nylon water bladders. Do these present any sanitation or winterization issues? I'm going to answer for Embassy RV, although you'll want to check with them for sure. They use marine yacht water bladders that are, I'm guessing, pretty proven, kind of like the technology that No Dirty Earth is using. So I'm guessing like a tank that just is a fixed amount in a plastic jug. It needs some degree of sanitization or winterizing. The bladder is probably a little more forgiving because they expand and contract. But sanitizing, I'd probably apply the same techniques to a water bladder as I would to a standard water tank. But check with Embassy RV. And since we have a lot of Embassy RV questions, I have a special announcement. This is kind of a pre-announce. I met with them today, and we're going to have Terry on March 24th on What's Up Wednesday. He's going to come on for about 15, 20 minutes, and they have been so incredibly busy. And those of you that have vans on order know this. So we're just going to confirm that with him. And he was going to check with the wife that he can stay up late and come on 7 p.m. Eastern with us. But we're tentative to have Terry on the 24th. So Guy, come back and be sure and pose that same question. That's a good one for Terry. Let's keep those questions coming in. You guys asked some great, and gals asked some great questions. Oh, here's another water one. Let's look at this. So here's Ryan. And if I start swatting things, I got so much light turned on here. The bugs are coming in from my screen. So I'm being eaten alive by mosquitoes. I should have sprayed first on the inside. Anyway, sidetrack. So Ryan Burr, frequent commenter, longtime viewer. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Ryan. Wants to know, does the water literally circulate or cycle through regularly throughout the system so ozone treatment keeps the water fresh, or does it work passively as you use water? It's a good question.
Totally. So it depends on the system setup. So we do have the ability, if you wanted to run the pump at the same time and cycle the water, that can be done. So that's one option, to inject ozone into a tank. Another option would be if the first time you're injecting water into your tank from an outside source, you can ozonate it. So there's a lot of ways you could set up an ozone system in your RV, in your Class B RV or van. So I guess to answer your question, Ryan, it does depend on the system setup.
Yeah, that's fair. That's cool. They have options, which is what.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Beyond Intentions. This is Chris and Cassandra. Hello, and their cat Benny. Rugged Water sounds awesome. Yeah, I might have to look into that myself. It's kind of
thanks.
So let's do this. Let's jump to this would be, we'll do this. A viewer question of the week, and there's one mosquito that really loves my right leg. So viewer question of the week, and what we do here, there's a special email address, GSLL viewer recommendation at gmail.com is the email address, or we extract them in this case from viewer comments from, this is last week's What's Up Wednesday. We just like to address your stuff specifically, man. That's what this is about, helping you be a better RVer, whether you're no time, still researching, part-time, or full-time like me. No awards given for full-timing, just like the way, that's how I like to roll. So Steve here wants to know, would you please share your observations on the increase in RV sales, impact on campgrounds? Well, if you've been watching What's Up Wednesday for a while, we've been giving statistics about RV sales, and I'm telling you, it's off the charts. And I am seeing impacts on campgrounds, in particular, national parks, state parks, and even county parks. There's one great thing about those systems. They're really hard to book same day. You still have to book, the next day. So this being Wednesday, you can't book for Wednesday, maybe Thursday, definitely for Friday. So usually about 48 hours out, but you can actually see what's available. You can pick your site, which is pretty cool. I wish the commercial guys did that. But when you do see the availability, there's nothing available. I'm serious. And they're so far booked out. And you might get, now in vans, it's a little easier because you can do 1 or 2 days here and you move to a different site for 1 or 2 days. And it's pretty easy for us to move around as vans. But I got to tell you that the national, state, and county park systems are really, really busy. And what I found when I was in the fall last year, when weather and COVID was kind of every place, I had a bunch of national and state parks booked in Utah and in New Mexico and in Texas, actually. And they will, due to weather, just cancel your reservation for one thing, which is like OMG. And the other thing is they have a pretty severe cancellation policy. So if I can't go to some place, you forfeit a fair amount of the dollars of the reservation. So I'm going to contribute that to the impact of new RVers. I am happy to say, though, that commercial campgrounds, like I'm currently staying in a KOA, a really nice one, by the way, outside of Tampa Bay in Bradenton, Florida, they're a little more flexible. Not only you can't see your sites typically, but there is more availability. You're more flexible on where you can roll inside the campground itself. Like I could sometimes get away with a tent site if they allow me to do that. So, and the other thing I would say is that I'm seeing a lot of new RVers, and I've helped a few out. It's cute. We were all new at something at one time, right? And I'm helping them with their sewer thing, or help with their water thing, and like, hey, get better water filters. Skip the 2 for $10 at Walmart and get the good stuff. And like No Dirty Earth. And so there's an impact on those folks. And I think as RVers that have been doing it for a while, it's our obligation to help them get over the learning curve and be more comfortable, so they'll be better RVers in the long run. But it's just the impact. So it has not been negative, except they're kind of hard to find again on those national, state, and county parks. I don't do much boondocking out in the wild, so I haven't seen people dumping trash and all the other horror stories that I hear about. There's a horror story for everything, right? But in those types of campgrounds that I've just explained, I have not seen any negative impact other than cancellation fees and and cancellations and hard to get in. Peirce, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is. If you're a first time RVer, is you get your RV or you get your van, saying I'm going to hit the open road, and you're not really planning too far ahead. The challenge right now is if everyone's doing that, there's limited campsite availability. And so you're also seeing a lot of people wanting to go to boondocking and have that ability to not be at a campground if they don't have to be. But I think for a first time RVer, you have no way of knowing that. If there's so much which is why your channel is so great, is you can learn all those items, but there's no way to know everything in RVing. And that's one of the things I think a lot of first time RVers overlook is, where am I going to park this and what's the feasibility of that? So it's wild times.
It's fun. So let's see. There's a couple more questions coming in. Keep those questions coming in. On Travado, RV systems, water, waste, Volta. What's it like to live in a van? Why do I live in a van? How's the water filter business in a van? There's lots of questions on your mind. So just type them in. 3 stars, 3 question marks. And here's a good one from James. We kind of went over this earlier, James, so maybe you're just joining us, and thank you for doing that. Appreciate that. Thanks for watching the replay. Again, if you got anything out of it, give a thumb up, comment in this if you're seeing the replay, and subscribe to the channel. This is what we do. If you subscribe, you actually get notified that we're coming on live, and then you don't miss anything, which is pretty awesome. So James wants to know, Scott, did you ever get enough feedback on time of day for the what's up early in the day? Yeah, I got a lot of feedback. Over 90 people voted, and here we'll show you right here. Pretty stunning. So happy hour for me doesn't really start until pretty late on Wednesdays because we're doing the show. Oh, my light just died. That's funny. So yeah, we're gonna stick to this time. It's hard on guests like Peirce, but you guys voted and gals voted, so that's how we roll here. So appreciate that. Great question. A couple that's coming in here. And oh, look at this. This is great. This is good timing, huh, Peirce? So not sure how to say the name, but just got my Class B RV, just did how to fill the freshwater and found this. So any other questions, viewer? I mean, I'm super proud of it. That's awesome. How'd it go? Do you have a filter? Hopefully. Did you get the fabric hose? Those are the ones I recommend because they really collapse in a Class B. The big white ones, right? Oh my God, if you haven't seen my video on that, I fight with my white hose. It was ridiculous.
Good luck managing that, yeah.
Yeah, it's just insane. And have a fresh water and a gray water. Super important that you don't have cross-contamination, right? So one that's dedicated to Santi-Flush, and I wash my van with the gray water hose. And the fresh water is only for water connections, and I'm super careful about not cross-connecting, doing tank duty with mitty, grubby hands, and then touching your freshwater stuff. It's 2 really complete operations. That's the way I do it. But congratulations, that's great. So Ava's coming in. This is a good question. Oh, whoop, right here. So Ava wants to know, some BLM areas are canceling dispersed camping. Do you think this summer will be tough in the private RV parks? Not sure what you mean by tough. I'm assuming, most commercial campgrounds are pretty well run, unless it's really a downscale one, which I've been in a few of those. One in San Diego, it was really a free-for-all. It was crazy. And it wasn't cheap either. BLM, yeah, I'm sure there are some places that have just been overused and or disrespected. And I'm hoping these are really limited stories. The Jennifer Mike Wendland, if you don't follow them, I follow them. They've been doing this for like 2 decades. So they're the ultimate authority on this stuff. And they've got a great podcast. They have a great YouTube channel. They got a great email. And they're the ones that kind of report on some of these cancel dispersed camping. I hope it's limited. There's a ton of BLM, which stands for Bureau of Land Management, by the way, out in the West in particular, west of the Mississippi. So hopefully there's enough for everybody. All the summer tough in the private RV parks. I haven't seen anybody really change things. Everything's pretty open and business as usual. They're even bringing back some of the campfires and the community events, even bingo on Friday nights and a little social distancing. But if you've not lived until you've had a big bonfire at a KOA or something like that with a bunch of kids, hot dogs, and sipping a glass of wine, or doing Friday night bingo at the campground.
Sounds like a blast.
It is so much fun. Oh my God. It's just so much fun. Good question. Let's see. So guys got a good question here. Oh, here's Ginger Walkabout. Yes, Ginger's in the house. Thank you. Yes, congrats on her rig too. I appreciate that. You have to let us know what you ended up buying. That would be very interesting to me. So this is a question by Guy. Scott, do you use a cell booster or a MIMO cell antenna? What's your experience with those? My experience with those is zero because I use neither. I'm not sure what a MIMO cell antenna is, to be honest with you. Cell booster, I've been pretty lucky. I have a jetpack, but from Verizon that I bought, early on in my adventure, and it's worked really well. There's been a few places that it didn't work, in which case I probably shouldn't be there because the cell signal was not great. So I would probably just move on. But maybe Ginger Walkabout can help us, because I think she has a cell booster mounted to her rig. So look in the chat there and see if we could be really creative and see if we can bring her in as a separate guest tonight. That would be kind of interesting. Not sure I would do that real time. So, yeah, a lot. Kevin 30 and Wake Up, I think, has something like that. I know Ginger does. I'm not sure about Chad and Paul and others, but I use that Verizon jetpack all the time, and it's done a really admirable job. Or I use my iPhone. I have an iPhone 12 5G service, and if there's 5G available, it's like 2 to 4 or 5 times faster. And if you have ultra wide available, man, if I'm uploading a video, I'll upload over that. It takes about 10-15 minutes versus like an hour and a half on the regular stuff. So it's pretty dramatic. Peirce, do you have any experience with these?
No, none. There's a ton of stuff on the market, and yeah, especially if you're working remote, it's, you never know where you're going to be, especially in a van. So there's a lot out there, but no, I don't have any specific experience using those.
Yeah, nor I. So we'll have to kind of punt. So Linda has a question here. Let's see. So Linda, a frequent commenter, which we love, looking at the Traveler, which is an Embassy RV product, which is awesome. Thank you. Said 35 years ago at Hilton Head, my toddler got Giardia lambia from water in a well. Will your filter get that level? Yeah.
So Giardia, for those of you who don't know, is fairly you don't want to get Giardia. So Linda, thanks for posing this question. That sounds like a really sorry to hear that you had that experience in Hilton Head. But yeah, so our filters are, I don't know if I referenced this earlier on, but our filters, so historically, a lot of the RV filters are 10 microns or 5 microns. So that's really just showcasing the media of what's being able to pass through your filter. So the smaller the micron, the better, more filtration you're getting out of your filter. So as I said, standard in the RV space that you buy off of a shelf at a camping store would be like a 10 or a 5 micron filter. Our filters are 0.2 micron, and those filters, it filters down to Giardia and also Legionella. So you're going to be able to cover that base regardless of if you're hooking up to a campground or pulling water from an unknown source. But our filters are rated and third-party tested, made in the U.S., but they do treat for that. So that is a great question. We do have a side-by-side comparison chart on nodirtyearth.com of what our filters do in comparison to a 5 micron or a 10 micron. So that's regardless of what system you end up going with, it is important to look at the micron of filtration that you're able to do with the filters that you're buying. So that is a really key component with water filters in general.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for bringing it up. That's really important. Yeah, go check out the comparison chart, because the real common blue filter, the light blue filter you see, only filters like 10 microns, which is not super filtering. Let's see. Here's a great question from Sherry, kind of going into the viewer question of the week, which is, have you seen any impact on the availability at Harvest Host sites being filled? That's a great question. You folks know I love Harvest Host, and I use them probably 2 to 3 days a week, and I have not seen any impact on them. Most of them are pretty accommodating, which is awesome. And one thing I have been seeing, though, is a lot more saying no generators, because it's not a great experience if you're in a winery or some cool place, or in a parking lot in very kind of urban neighborhood to have that droning noise of a generator. So I've seen more of that. No slide outs. It'd be kind of self-contained. So I've been seeing more rules around that. The golf course ones, which I'm a member of, that's kind of an upgrade. I have seen more and more of them requiring a purchase of golf or food and beverage, which totally get it on the food and beverage. I'm in for that. I don't play golf. So I've seen a little bit more constraints, the wrong word, restrictions, just, being a better RVer, I would say. But I haven't seen people being turned away because there's no space. It's a good question. And by the way, I'm going to be posting something about this. I got a note from Harvest Host. They're raising their prices. And if you go to my website and buy now, I think it's going up. It's fairly significant, like 25%. I'm going totally off memory here, which I'm an old guy, so that's not a smart thing to do. But get your Harvest Host on now while you can and save some money. Go to my website, gosmalllivelarge.com, and go to the More tab, and you can get your you save 15% right off the bat. I make a couple bucks, so appreciate that. Thank you for that. And let's see if we have any. Yeah, Ginger Walkabout's like loves helping the newbies. Yeah, she's got a good point here. Inspect your roof. It's that time of year because the expand, contract, the heat and the cold, right? If you had 20 degrees last week and now it's 60 degrees, and that thing has been expanding and contracting. So check your roof leaks. She's the expert on how to fix roof leaks. So thank you for that. Okay, let's see what's next up on our docket here. So let's take a look at RV News headlines. So again, what we like to do here is I subscribe to a couple of RV News feeds, if you will. This one's RV Pro, rv-pro.com. Anybody can sign up, I think. I also kind of scan through Google alerts around RVing. They, RV Pro, mentioned this specifically. I'll zoom out so you guys, ladies and gentlemen, can see this. And Peirce, I love your comment on this. See if you're, uptaking your business because of this. But so the headline of the news article was Changing RV Ownership, Demographics and Trends. Go RVing is kind of the marketing arm of the RV industry. And a couple of real pullout statistics really jumped out at me. First of all, RV ownership is at a record 11 million households, up 62% over 2001. And the up over 2010 or 12 number was pretty staggering as well. What I found really interesting is that 51% of owners are now under the age of 55. Now think about that for a minute. That is really incredible. And of those, 22% of those owners are in the 18 to 34 age category. I mean, that is just amazing. Yeah. And 84% of those in the 18 to 34 category plan to purchase in less than 5 years. And think about the dramatic effect this is going to have on your rugged water filter, right? And lifted 4x4s and RVs not looking like grandma's house anymore, kind of finally. And just the I'm guessing the almost expectation to have these things being technically wired up and connected to the cloud. And Peirce, what are you seeing in these are you surprised by these at all?
Yeah, it's super surprising, but I think the overall, and I think this trend has been going on and just kind of rapid, it's been going on for years, but it's really seen a rapid increase, and obviously given the last year situation. But yeah, it's, more and more people, if you're going RVing, the intent is I want to have the open road and I want the freedom to choose where I'm going, how I'm spending my time, but I also want the comforts of home. So I think people are saying, well, if I'm going to go on a vacation, I don't want to go onto an airplane, or I don't want to, have the chaos and hustle and bustle, but I want to still have access to the outdoors while not giving up some of the comforts. And I think RVing, especially in the Class B side, gives you that flexibility of being very mobile, but still having all the amenities that, make a trip awesome. And so I think that's really what, a lot of people are seeing is RVing. If you're able to work remotely, you can go mobile. And that's probably why you're seeing a lot of the age change too, because it's opening up as an option, as a viable option for great outdoor experiences for more people, specifically here in the US. So it is super fascinating that's opening up the doors for more people doing this.
Yeah, and just on point. And my guess is this, well, I would be curious if this includes DIY van build outs.
True.
Which is definitely a younger demographic. But you can see by just the non-big folks, Thor, Winnebago, Coachman, coming out with B vans, Overland, Storyteller, largely Sprinter-based Mango vans. Hey, we got an interview coming up with them, so you'll want to subscribe so you get notified of that. Really great van builder down in the Miami area that Chad and Paul did a tour with a rig. And then off-highway vans out of Salt Lake. They did my van lift, and they're definitely pegging this, I'd say 18 to 34 category pretty hard with some really off-road rugged vans. So this is just great news. And as always, you can go right to my website and click on the WOO, What's Up Wednesday, WUW, at the top of the navigation bar, and you can read the entire article for yourself there. A couple more really awesome questions here around Harvest Host. And let's see. So Sherry, thank you for this. So you just signed up and says it's going up $20. So that's pretty significant, because I think it's like $49 right now. So it's going up $20. Worth every penny. I'm telling you, it's the best, one of the best programs. Boondockers Welcome. I got to do a video on those. Those guys are just a really great resource as well. And Nonya here has a great point here. Does Harvest Host and uses Cracker Barrels. So Cracker Barrels is really well known for welcoming RVers to their back lots. They make a pretty good breakfast any time of day, and I've been using them more and more. Their pot roast, by the way, is pretty excellent for $10. And if I'm tired of eating my stuff I make all the time, for $10 and get some pot roast and a free night of parking, and it's always quiet. They're really close to the freeways typically, and a lot of friendly RVers, and just a lovely experience. So. And then somebody wants to know right here, great questions on the Harvest Host. So RR Bar Cars, I'm not sure how to say your name. I just got Harvest Host. Do you recommend upgrading to the golf course access? I do. Kind of three reasons. Number one, while there's probably not wineries in an urban environment, there's always a golf course. Certainly in the bigger cities, which are really tough to find RV parking unless you're going to park in a parking lot, pay overnight, or do street camping, which I do. But golf courses are you ever seen a golf course in a bad neighborhood? My guess is probably not. They're usually in pretty good neighborhoods. And so good quality surroundings. They close early, so it's really quiet after dark. So 6 or 7 p.m. they're closed down, and they get going early in the morning. And they're in urban environments. So those are the reasons I like golf courses. Now I go in and spend, $10 for a burger and a beer and get some Wi-Fi and some AC or heat, whatever the case is. And it works out pretty well. So I would recommend it if you're in urban areas. One of my favorite stays was at the Las Vegas National Golf something or other, where all the famous Brat Pack, played the days, and you could kind of go hang out in the lounge. It was just a cool experience. And it's just a great way to chit chat with the locals. I mean, all the Harvest Host, it takes you to places you wouldn't go, which is exactly the point, right? That's why we RV. So that's the reason I would recommend Harvest Host and golf course in particular. Any comments, Peirce? Are you
no, it's like you said, it's the whole point of it's the beauty of RVing is you have the freedom to go anywhere, and it's that's part of the benefit. You'll go to places that you never intended to go to initially.
It's really the best thing. And if you're into harvest hosting, so it's on commercial property, but check out Boondockers Welcome. They're on my site under more essential memberships, I think I call it. It's pretty inexpensive. It's $40 a year, and you stay on private land, typically RVers. And I've been using all three of those resources a lot lately. Cracker Barrel, Harvest Host, and Boondockers Welcome. And then every 4th, 5th, or 6th day, come to a campground just to do my tank duties and just not move for a day or two, get laundry done. It's kind of nice. So I've been rolling like that. So let's shift over let's go to viewer recommendation of the week. And this comes from Sue. She's been giving me a lot of recommendations. And by the way, the email address there at the bottom is gslviewerrecommendation@gmail.com. Please send recommendations, pet photos of the week, song of the week, maybe question of the week. But certainly the recommendations, it's super important. If it's kind of an off topic, that's not the right email address. Go small, live large @gmail.com would be the right address for everything kind of not recommended. But viewer Sue talks about the Amazon Hub Locker. Peirce, have you had experience with these?
Yeah, so it's a huge benefit.
Explain what it is. For the folks.
Yeah, so Amazon Hub Locker, you can have your Amazon packages shipped to a specific locker. So if you're going across the country, or let's say you're not not traveling in your RV, but you wanted to have it in a set location, you can send all your Amazon packages to that locker and then show up and pick it up. So this is really interesting if you're full-time RVing, you still have access to Amazon and the speed at which Amazon delivers, critical items that you may need on the road, but having the option of and full flexibility of picking it up at a set destination. So it's super fascinating.
Yeah, and it's again for full-timers. I wish Amazon Hub Locker would connect up with KOAs.
Totally.
And maybe another national chain. I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't be connecting up, because what I found there was a question earlier in the program, somebody asking about the impact on commercial RV parks, and there is actually a very definite impact on commercial RV parks around this topic of shipping packages. And a lot of them are saying no anymore. They don't want to be your mailroom. They want to handle the stuff. They don't have all the bodies floating through the office, so they're just not taking shipments anymore. And that's kind of a negative, because there was always a place to send something, and they always accepted it. So I would love to see, and be surprised if they don't at some point, connect up with the bigger ones like KOA, where I'm staying at. And it's just the coolest experience to walk up and you scan your thing and the door pops open and you just take your stuff out, you close the door, and that's it. And for full-timers, like Peirce was mentioning, it's really a great way to roll. Not in small towns, a lot of pretty big city, urban environments, but you're starting to see them in convenience stores a lot now, which is great, but it's just such a great option. So great recommendation. Comes if there's one in your area, it'll come up as a ship to option in your Amazon cart. Which kind of reminds me, Peirce. So these products you have, are they on Amazon? Can I put these in my Amazon store? What do you think?
Yeah, totally. So we have them on our website right now. We do not have them on Amazon yet, but that is coming soon. So once we have those on Amazon, obviously, Scott, I will let you know. And then obviously to the people that are watching this, it should be on Amazon here shortly.
That's great. Let's take a couple more questions, and we're getting down to just about end of the show here. Hey, again, if you've got anything out there, smash that thumb up button. That helps me know you like this. We've just had about 100 people in here tonight. That's awesome for a live event on a Wednesday night. Thank you for doing that. And thank you for watching on the replay. We're getting a lot of replays. People are really liking this format. Let me know if you do or don't. I'm okay. We can adjust. That's what we do here. So Greg's got a good question here. Let me pull this up. So we did a video, Peirce, with Clear 2.0, last spring. Can't remember. They too, like No Dirty Earth, take a different approach to their water systems. Excuse me. He wants to know, let's see, you did a great video on Clear 2.0. Yeah, Keith was cool. They're actually going to be a guest next month. And transparency to Peirce, I should have told you that. But again, we learn, we share, you decide what's best for you, which seem to solve a lot of water issues. Should we use the Clear 2.0 in conjunction with No Dirty Earth solution, or are they both standalone options? Are you familiar with them at all?
Yeah, totally. So there's, like I said at the very beginning, there's a lot of great, this is a great space. There's a lot of people that are saying, we want water treatment anywhere at any time. So Clear 2.0 is obviously a great company too. I would say, you can really choose between either one of those. I mean, you can go both, but I would see it as kind of unnecessary to some extent. So I would choose either one. But really at the end of the day, just make sure if you are pulling water from any source, make sure you do treat that water in whatever technology you're using, whether it's UV or filtration. Just kind of educate yourself on the topic. And there's a lot of great companies that provide solutions in that. So, but it's important that you treat the water before consuming it. Because regardless of the system that you use, it's really critical.
That's good advice. And they do have a sediment filter, which was new about a year ago. So maybe that could go on the front of yours. And I think you filtered down to a 0.5, and theirs was 1. So that I just remember those two things were a big difference. But both great. The whole point being here is that just filter your water more so than the light blue filter. And I think it'd have a happier everything. Let's see, just a couple more questions here. This is kind of an interesting one. So MGK Lauer says, has anyone heard about RV parks owners lobby to abolish boondocking, which is being proposed in New Zealand, which may get some attention here in the U.S.? I don't know how you could do that. I don't know. My guess is that wouldn't go too far. First of all, I'm not sure of a nationwide RV park thing. I don't know. It's a good question. I hope not. Why would people do that anyway? Unless people are just being boneheads out in the wilderness, right?
Yeah,
there's plenty of places to stay, so just leave options. I will say Walmarts have been a lot harder to stay at lately. Way fewer, certainly in the bigger, urban areas. It's just a flat out no, because it's so easy to put the sign, no overnight parking, right? Because people abuse it. It's always the one person that creates no for everybody else. So please, if you're new to RVing or you're old, midterm like me, 2.5 years in, or doing it for a while, just use good manners, use respect, treat people. One of the Boy Scout mottos was to leave the place better than you found it. If I'm in a campsite and I'm like a day campsite, I pick up litter, I fill up my thing, and I go put it in the garbage can, which by the way is 100 paces that way. It's just so annoying to me. That's a different topic. Okay, so let's go to a great question, and we'll kind of wind down here. We've got, I think the next up is, yes, Song of the Week. I have not listened to a lot of Brad Paisley. Are you, Peirce, are you a country western fan at all? Or are you?
I listen to everything under the sun. So
I'm pretty. This was a good song. I was not aware of this song. So Rose from the Ponchos submitted Off-Road by Brad Paisley. So give that tune a listen. And if you have a favorite song, maybe you ran across some music you haven't listened to in a long time, Billy Squier. I got served up that on Apple Music last week, and I've been on a Billy Squier tangent for a week. And he was super big in the early 80s. And I remember really fond memories to Billy Squier. But check out Brad Paisley, Song of the Week, Off-Road. Thank you, Rose, for submitting that. And again, hit me up on that email and submit your song of the week, your recommendation of the week, or in this case, pet photo of the week. Look at this guy. This is Tink. He's an Italian greyhound at 15 years old. That's kind of getting up there in dog years, right? Oh my gosh. So thanks, Char, for submitting that photo. And Char is full-time in a Little Guy Mini Max. I had no clue what that was. Had to Google it. It's a teardrop. And I think those are just some of the cutest trailers. And if I didn't do the van thing, that would be probably on my list. But look at that dog looking so comfy there in her bed. In the Little Guy Mini Max. That's pretty cool, right? And your wife's a veterinarian. Is that right, Peirce?
Yeah, my wife's a veterinarian here in Michigan. So a lot of fun animal pictures. Especially older dogs. It strikes a certain chord in your heart.
It really does. So just a couple more questions, then we'll call it a wrap. Let's see. So get them coming in quick because we're winding down the clock. So here, Rhonda. Thank you, Rhonda. So she's talking about the Amazon boxes in San Antonio. Is there a time limit for picking up? My experience, yes. It's fairly generous. It's like 5 days from my experience last time. And they keep warning you, hey, you're going to run out of stuff. And then they just give you a return. So they don't charge and not give you the merchandise. Peirce, any news on that? Do you have any different experience?
No, I've always picked it up pretty immediately. I've never wanted to find out what happened if I didn't pick it up on time. So I don't have anything to add to that.
Well, one thing I did learn tonight, hopefully you did as well, something, if you did, give a thumb up, appreciate that, is it will take returns now. If you saw that graphic, not only can you pick up new merchandise you purchased, but you can actually give something back to Amazon and get a return. That makes really cool. That makes it super simple. So Jane, hey Jane,
it's 7 o'clock.
Uh-oh, time to call to wrap, 7 o'clock. Jane says, Quartzsite has a place you can go to camp. It's called Magic Circle. Clothing optional. Holy cow. What are your thoughts on that? I don't know. It's always the people that should have their clothes on typically have them off, from my experience, which is very limited. So yeah, that's why it's the Magic Circle. I don't know. It'd be fun to check it out for an hour, but I'm not camping out there. Sorry.
Sounds like a unique place.
Jane, you gotta text me privately and let me know about that. That's pretty crazy. That is funny. Let's see, scanning for last questions. Again, Billy Squier. Oh my God, you gotta listen to that. I almost made that an honorary mention tonight for Song of the Week. He had some really amazing anthems back then. So, yeah. So I think what we're going to do with that is just call it a wrap. Peirce, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate that. You were awesome. Teaching us about water, how to get better quality water, options available. I know you stayed up late, so thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate that.
Yeah, Scott, this is awesome. And it's great to be a part of the What's Up Wednesday here. And it's great to answer some more questions from your viewers. And I guess if anyone has any other questions going forward on water systems, you can see our stuff as you're seeing here on the screen, nodirtyearth.com. Or email us at service@nodirtyearth.com. Or even if you want to call us directly, you can reach us at 574-383-9277. And that's my direct phone. You can call me here, and happy to answer any questions you have on water systems.
That's great. Well, thank you again for joining us. And thanks to all of you for tuning in for the live show tonight and for watching the replay. Really appreciate that. And we'll see you soon on the small screen. Peirce, thanks. Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.